We got the fairway heavily top dressed, seeded, and rolled in, and the transition to Bermuda grass has officially started. Welcome back to Under Par Acres. In the spring, we had the fairway looking really good with ryegrass, and it made for a lot of fun practicing short game shots in addition to just putting. But as soon as the summer heat showed up, the ryegrass died off and the fairway and bunker really got away from us after just a few weeks of neglecting it. So this weekend it was time to get back to work and start the process of growing Bermuda grass. I started off by using the reel mower to cut it as low as possible before we bring in new topsoil. Next up, I brought the rotary mower out to start cutting the weeds down around the bunker. I then dropped the blade to the lowest level and went over the fairway again. The reel mower cuts it nice and low, but it doesn't do a good job with weeds and tall grasses, so this made sure we got the job fully done. And then I went around the bunker once again, this time on a lower setting. It wasn't really necessary at this point, but my OCD made me clean up the bunker, and then of course I had to rake it to make it look nice. Once we were done mowing and cleaning up, it was time to bring out my assistant and start the aeration process. I told Wilson that I wanted him to punch over 1,000,000 holes in the ground, so we did about 10 to 15 laps around the fairway on the zero-turn mower, pulling the Agrifab aerifier behind. And he just may have hit the 1,000,000 holes mark, because when he was done, he had the ground tore up and there were 3-inch plugs everywhere. And the last thing I did that evening was use the backpack blower to blow all of the plugs off the fairway. On Saturday morning, I had a full dump truck load of my favorite topsoil mix delivered, and I had half of it dropped off where I'm building a new raised bed garden, as I'm about to build some new raised beds and will use this to fill them. But then I had the second half of the load dumped at the end of the fairway, which was far smarter than what we've done in the past, where we shoveled it out of the back of the truck. And I was lucky enough to have my full maintenance crew on site Saturday morning to help start spreading the soil. This is a topsoil mixed with both compost and sand, and I've found it to be great for growing just about anything. With all of my helpers motivated to work, we were able to start spreading and smoothing the soil at a solid pace, and I was even pleased to get a solid 14 minutes of actual work out of Walker before he decided he could be more productive playing in the air-conditioned house with his little sister. The original plan was to use the tractor and box blade to spread the soil out, but since the tractor was over on the driving range with the bush hog set up, and I still had an hour of mowing left to do with it, I decided to just do this by hand, which turned out to be a huge mistake. It was nearly 90 degrees out, and this was some exhausting work, especially knowing that Wilson and I were going to walk 18 holes on the golf course later that evening. I absolutely should have gone over and finished mowing the field, changed out the tractor attachment to the box blade, and I could have had this done in 15 minutes burning very little energy. But we worked hard and did a good job, and despite feeling as stiff as a brick, I was able to shoot even par and wear Wilson out on the golf course. As Sunday rolled around, we still had a lot of soil to spread, but I started by getting the garden tiller out to go around the bunker. I wasn't trying to fully till it up, I just wanted to chop it up enough to spread a little more soil and get grass seed to sprout. But next up, I had to get the rest of the topsoil spread out, and this time, as you may notice, my little helpers were nowhere to be found. That was a lot tougher work than I expected, but lucky enough we were done, and after a long break to watch the Memorial Golf Tournament, it was time to get out the Bermuda seed and get the fairway sowed. And the last job was to get out the lawn roller and get the seed compacted into the soil, but after rolling the bunker by hand, I had the luxury of pulling it behind the zero turn the rest of the way. We'll have to refrain from hitting chip shots the next few weeks, but I'm sure we will be just fine heading over to the driving range. Thanks everyone for watching, and we will see you soon.